6y 加 2x 等于500，解方程式。2x 加 2y 等于200，然后消掉这个是4y 等于300。47，哎，能除开，75，狮子是75个。
啊，狮子是75个，
小鸡是25个。好了，算完了，狮子75，小鸡25名。狮子75，小鸡25名。
Hi everybody, so we have come to this place where we have learned elimination method and also substitution method to solve all the linear equations, and now we're going to see some of the applications that we can apply in real life. It's not just about solving equations including y and x all the time, but there can also be a form of question where they give you a situation. Okay, as you can see in the Running Man video, there is a situation and then you are required to find the value of x and y, which each represents different variables. So let's take a look at this question. Okay, so first of all, they say that you have 500 ringgit and then you want to buy 100 toys, which include lions and chickens. So every lion costs 6 ringgit and every chicken costs 2 ringgit. So at this point, I can label it like that. Okay, and then they ask you to find how many chickens and lions you can buy or you can get if you spend all the money. So how do you know that this is a simultaneous equation question? Yes, there's because they ask you to find the value for two variables or two unknowns. There are actually two, which are chickens and lions. Okay, and then they also provide you two equations which you have to form yourself. So let's see whether we can form it right now. Okay, they say that there are in total 100 toys. So first of all, if you see this question, what we have to do is to let x equals to something and y equals to something, because we cannot write like 8 chickens plus 2 lions, right? It doesn't seem possible, so that's why we have to replace this word with x and y to make it more mathematical. So in this case, we can simply put x as chicken, y as lion. Of course, you can also say x is lion, y is chicken, or you can also don't use x and y, you can use C and L if you find it easier to remember. C stands for chicken and L stands for lion. It's totally up to you. You can use any kind of letter you like, but usually we will stick to x and y because that's the most common one. Okay, so are you clear with this? We use x equals to something, y equals to something, and doesn't matter which one comes first. So later on, we're gonna form the first equation. Since we are talking about simultaneous linear equation, so it's gotta be two equations in total. So first equation, we know that you can only buy 100 toys in total. So x plus y equals to 100. Why? Because the number of chickens plus the number of lions at the end will be equals to 100. For example, you buy 50 chicken and 50 lion, then you will get 100. Of course, 50 is not the answer. I'm just giving you a brief example to say that at the end, the number of chickens and the number of lions, when they sum up together, it has to be 100. Okay, so we are done with the first equation right now. How about the second equation? So the second equation, they also provide you some information about the cost, about the price of each chicken and lion, and you know that you have 500 ringgit. So usually, right, they are actually grouped like this. One is about unit, which is like the amount of the toys. Okay, amount of toys. And the second one will be price. So When forming the first equation, there's no price involved at all. You don't use the 2 ringgit, you also don't use 6 ringgit, you also don't use 500 ringgit. You only use the number of toys, which is 100. I think I have to highlight it in another color so that you can see it clearly. It says 100 toys, and yeah, X and Y actually represent the number of chickens, which is like how many chicken toy you can get at last and how many lion toys you can get at the end. So in the first equation, you can see that we never involve the price. So when forming the second equation, you know that we are left with price only. So how can we form an equation with price? So you know that 6 ringgit is for per chicken and 2 ringgit is for per lion. Oh, sorry, I wrote it in a wrong position. It's gotta be 2 for chicken and 6 for lion. Okay, lion costs more expensive. So we can say 6x, sorry, it's actually 2x plus 6y equals to 500. Okay, let me explain to you why is it like this. Okay, let's say we are going to buy 10 chickens and 90 lions. Let's say I'm just simply giving you numbers. I don't know even this is right or not. I'm just giving you a brief example. So what do you mean by if you buy 10 chickens? Since 1 chicken is 2 ringgit, then 10 chicken will be how much? It will be 10 times 2 ringgit, you will get 20 ringgit, right? So since we don't know what is this number, I'm just like simply giving you a random number. So we say x equals to chicken, right? It means x times 2 ringgit equals to the price of all the chickens. And then we also know that I say 90 lions right here, but I do not know whether is it 90. So the 90 actually represents y, which is the number of lions you get at the end. So it's actually y times 6 ringgit, and then it will be the price of all the lions. So it says that you spend 500 ringgit to buy all this, which means what? Which means 500 ringgit is the total price of all chickens, and then plus the price of all lions. Do you agree with me? Okay. So this is how it goes. So since we know that the price of all the chickens is 2x, we usually don't include the RM in an equation because it's not required. So let's just write 2x. And for the price of all lions, right here we have 6y. So that's why we say 2x plus 6y equals to 500. And this is how I get this second equation. Okay, so the most important thing right here is not about solving, because I knew that you are very familiar with how to solve already. It's just that how to form two equations based on the story given. Okay, you have to use the words to transform it into x and y and also some numbers. So if you are clear with this, I'm gonna continue to solve by using the first method, which is substitution method. Okay, so just gonna draw a line here and I'm gonna try to solve it. So if you still remember, substitution method is that the first step is requiring you to leave only x or y on the left hand side. So you write something like x equals to 100 minus y, because you move the y to the right hand side. Of course, you can also move the x to the right hand side. It actually depends to your preference, which one are you more familiar with. So here comes our third equation. Then we sub the third equation to the second equation. Why we sub it into 2 instead of subbing into 1? Because the first equation is the same as the third equation. They are just in different position. If you sub the third equation back to the first equation, you actually get nothing. Okay, it's like 100 minus y, this is x, right? Then plus y equals to 100. I mean, what you got eventually, it is 100 minus y plus y equals to 100. And negative y plus y, it is actually 0. So 0 equals to 0. It's no, you don't have to do this because you get nothing from this equation. You cannot find y, you also cannot find x. So you don't sub the same equation back to their own equation. You sub it into another equation, okay? So in this case, we just copy to the second equation first, and then we sub the whole thing inside. Plus 6y equals to 500. Then we just try to multiply it, as you are very familiar with it already. Arrow to the first one, you get 200. Arrow to the second one, you get negative 2y plus 6y equals to 500. And then you can solve it right now because you know that they are like terms. Okay, so negative 2y plus 6y, what do you get? You get 4y. And then a 200, you move to the right hand side, becomes negative 200. So 500 minus 200, you get 300. This is still remaining as 4y. And then y, you move the 4 to the right hand side. It is 300 divided by 4. 300 divided by 4. It will be 75. So we already find the first variable, which is y. What is y? Y is actually the lion. But we are not done yet. Remember, we need to find two variables. We also need to find the number of chickens. So in order to find the chicken, we can use back this equation to help us. So this equation says that, x equals to 100 minus y. And since we know that y is 75, we just put it in. Alright, so now we know that x is 25. So because this is an application question, which they give you chickens and lions, they didn't ask you what is the number of x or y because it is not stated in the question. So you still have to go back to this. Yes, you have to go back to this. X equals to chicken, y equals to lion, because the teacher don't know that you are actually referring to this one. So to be even safer, I will recommend you to write something like this. So you will get, what is x again? X is chicken. You will get 25 chickens and 75 lions. So that's the final answer for this question. So it's actually not very hard. It's just that you have to understand the question and you form two equations. After you form the equations, then you continue to solve it. You will get x and y. So that's basically it. I hope you get the answer as well. So if you have any questions, just leave your questions down below in the comment section. I'll try to approach to you as fast as possible. Thank you.